Welcome to another episode of Asheville Reboot. I am Alex Jarbo, the owner of Engadine Inn Cabins, and today we have the owner of Hoopers Creek Bee Company. We're actually in their shop right now. Hoopers Creek Bee Company manages and owns the hives at Engadine, and I'm super excited to have you on, man.
Thanks for having me on. As Alex mentioned, my name is John Robertson. I'm one of the owners here. It's a family-owned and operated business, so my daughters and wife and myself own this business. We've been in business since basically 2021. Started out as a hobby as far as beekeeping. We fell in love with it, and fast forward to today, we have about 500 colonies. We have a bee supply where we sell bee supplies. We also sell honey, obviously.
Where were you at when the hurricane happened?
We were actually down in Florida. We had moved some hives down there. The good news is most of our hives were down there. 2 weeks earlier, there would have been a major loss. So many of our friends and clients lost a lot of bees during that hurricane.
And then going a month after the hurricane, what did your business look like then? I mean, for us, the first 2-3 weeks was just like go, 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 almost like no plan, just to essentially save what we had.
Well, I guess a good thing for us is that is our slow season. So starting about the middle to end of August, we go into what is our slow season. So beekeeping is slowing down. So anyway, it was mostly just to help our neighbors out and whatnot. But from a business standpoint, it was not a super busy time for us, and we're thankful for that.
Yeah.
Allowed us to focus on other things.
Have you guys grown as a business since the hurricane? Are you guys keeping steady? How's that working?
Sure. So been just about doubling every year since we started.
So even with the hurricane, yeah.
Yes. I would say last year honey sales slumped off because of the hurricane. We didn't have the visitors from out of town coming up to the mountains. So I would attribute it to that. The store was slow, but that was due to the beekeeping season being pretty much over.
What type of honey and what type of seasons do we have here in the mountains for honey?
So fortunately for us, we live in a great area for honey. We have the potential for 2, sometimes 3 harvests. So we have what we call our wildflower in the spring. That's a combination of tulip poplar, black locust, and blackberry bushes. So that doesn't all start blooming at the same time, but the bloom overlaps. First you'd have locusts, then the blackberry bushes would start blooming, and then tulip poplar. That happens about the last week of April, 1st of May. And we would harvest that at the end of May, first part of June. So that would be our first harvest, so to speak. And then we have potential for basswood that comes in the end of June, right before sourwood. Sourwood is something our area is well known for. It's tricky, you got to keep other stuff out of it. So you got to make sure that as it starts, you've got everything else off. So what starts right before that is basswood. Basswood is short, maybe a week and a half. Phenomenal honey. So you want to get that off right before sourwood starts. And so that would be 1st of July, 2nd, 3rd, depending on when sourwood starts coming in. It's not the same every year. I mean, it's within that week, but you're testing, and as soon as sourwood starts coming in, your basswood comes off.
Is basswood a certain tree?
It is.
Okay.
Most of our honey here in the mountains comes from trees.
Which I didn't know. I thought it was wildflower and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a lot different from other areas in the country where it might be clover or wildflowers in a field. It starts traditionally right around the 4th of July, and it would go, if we're lucky, till the 3rd week in July. And then that's it for the season.
So being in September, we're pretty much done with the season.
So our wildflower honey would be darker, bolder in flavor. And what makes it dark is the tulip poplar. Both the locust and the blackberry tend to be lighter honeys, but when that tulip poplar gets mixed in, it's darker. It looks amber, almost like red wine. That combination of those 3 things is phenomenal tasting honey. Tulip poplar by itself tastes like molasses, so it's definitely edible, but not great tasting. But when you combine those 3 things, or the bees combine those 3 things, phenomenal tasting honey.
So for people who don't know what sourwood honey is, because I didn't know, even I've lived here for 8 years, what makes sourwood honey so prized, why it's so expensive as well?
It doesn't produce everywhere either. It's an elevation thing, it's a mountain thing. It doesn't start producing significant amounts of nectar until you're above 1,500 feet in elevation, down into 800 feet above sea level areas, but it blooms, it doesn't produce nectar. So that's one thing. It's a very finicky tree in that even though it blooms here in the mountains every year and it looks beautiful, it doesn't always produce nectar. You could make a massive crop in one of your yards, and next year it would bloom beautifully and produce little to nothing. It's not consistent. So there's always more demand for it than there is product. An interesting fact about the sourwood trees, when people are tasting sourwood, they think it's going to be sour, but the reason it's called a sourwood tree is because if you were to break off a twig and chew it, that would be sour. And what causes that to be sour is oxalic acid. same thing that makes spinach sour.
Interesting. So going forward now, looking say a year or two into your business and also just honey in general, where do you see your business and beekeeping going in general? Because you guys run classes here. You guys sell nukes, which is essentially a pre-started bee colony.
Yeah.
Where do you see your business in the next year or two, along with honey?
Yes, we're trying to expand sales here in the store. As you mentioned, we sell bees in the forms of nukes, packages, queens in the spring. Those are ours and we produce them. And honey as well. Right now we had a lot of rain this year, so honey production is down for the year, so we're feeling the pinch on that. We've got a lot of orders to fill, and at some point we're going to run out of honey. So we'll be growing the quantity of hives that we have. Right now we're around 500, and our intention is to be at 1,000. Before long, we'll expand after that, but that's our next goal. The reason for expanding those bees is to meet the demand for our honey as well as to meet the demand for our bees. So not only do we retail the honey, but we also wholesale the honey to other stores. And the same thing with the bees. We retail the bees here at our location, but we also wholesale bees to other bee stores, other bee supplies.
Wrapping up here, where can people find you guys? What's your guys' website? And we're in Arden, North Carolina.
Yeah, so our store is in Arden, North Carolina. It's 11 Business Park Circle. Here in Arden, we're about 2 minutes from the Asheville Airport, right off of 26. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and our website is hooperscreekbees.com.
Awesome. That wraps up this episode of the Asheville Reboot. John, thanks for letting me do this in your store.
Thanks so much for coming in.
If I didn't mention previously, how many hives do we have at Engadine that are yours?
We have
48. So we have 48 hives from them. That's where that relationship started back in, I think, February, March timeframe.
Absolutely.
So if you guys are in the area, it's 2 minutes away from the airport, feel free to swing in or check them out on their website. I will see everyone on the next podcast. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Alex.